Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion.
Without Caitlin Clark on the court, the WNBA looks like it's free falling into a money pit, totally helpless as their empire crumbles in real time. It's almost like they learned nothing about protecting the one star who dragged them from dusty obscurity into the global spotlight. This league keeps tripping over itself while its biggest attraction sits on the sidelines, and the stubborn refusal to admit reality is costing them millions every single day.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
Now let's be real. Facts are slippery in this era of stage drama and online outrage, especially when it comes to claims about sold-out WNBA games without Clark. But the brutal truth about the league's total dependence on her came crashing down the moment she got sidelined on May 24th with that quad injury. Fast forward, and now she's out again with a groin issue. And honestly, nobody can say when she'll actually return. So yes, what we're watching is a painful rerun of the same nightmare from just weeks ago, and it's uglier the second time around. Here's the breakdown.
She jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then...
When Clark was on the floor, nationally televised WNBA games pulled in over 1.8 million viewers on average. The second she was gone, boom, ratings cratered by a jaw-dropping 55%, free-falling to just 847,000 eyeballs. And check this. Games featuring her own team, the Indiana Fever, suffered a brutal 53% collapse in viewership. The league thought they had momentum, but without Clark, the bubble popped fast.
Went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th. National TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
And here's where it gets downright absurd. And by absurd, I mean straight up disastrous. This league acts allergic to taking responsibility for its own epic mistakes, and it's showing big time. While Caitlin Clark was out there doing what only she can do, packing arenas to the rafters, smashing TV ratings, and pulling in cash like nobody's business, the WNBA sat back and did absolutely nothing to protect their crown jewel. Think about it. They allowed opponents to go at her over and over as if it's just basketball plays, even though she's single-handedly driving a staggering 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity. That's more than a star. That's the lifeline of the entire league. Yet, instead of locking her down with protection,
news is alarming for the league. And it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they
basically left her as an open target while preaching excuses to the fans. And here's the maddening part. This ain't new. The WNBA has already been down this road. They've watched ratings and revenue collapse before when their top player went down. It's like watching someone grab a scorching hot stove, scream in pain, and then, without missing a beat, slap their hand right back on it, acting shocked all over again. It's careless, it's reckless, and it's enraging. If you think this whole mess is as crazy as it sounds, smash that subscribe button right now, because the financial collapse hit like a wrecking ball, and fast. Fever ticket prices have nosedived by a jaw-dropping 71%. We're talking seats that once went for $860 now being dumped for just $250. And it gets even uglier. The average price for tickets to games Clark missed free fell from $1,370 all the way down to a pathetic $80. That's not just a dip. That's a total market crash. And what does it really show? Simple. Clark is the only one truly moving the needle in this league.
Really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season, and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the Fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more
Remember when games had to be rescheduled into bigger arenas just to handle the stampede of fans dying to see her? Now those same venues are half empty, with rows of seats left cold that would have been electric if she was playing. Even one of the most hyped matchups of the season, Chicago Sky versus Fever, turned into a financial flop. Ticket prices slid from $210 to $95. And that's insane, because the first time these two faced off, it pulled 2.25 million viewers, one of the most watched WNBA games ever. Without Clark, though, just another forgettable night, with casual fans tuning out completely. And now, veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan is calling the league out loud and clear. Her upcoming book, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports,
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Is promising to spill every ounce of tea on how the WNBA has completely failed its biggest star, and it could be the most brutal tell-all women's basketball has ever seen. After yet another blatant incident where opponents went straight at Clark, Christine Brennan didn't hold back. She flat out blasted the WNBA, saying the league continues to fail to meet the moment. And she's not exaggerating. This is exactly what fans are seeing in record numbers. Her criticism cuts deep because according to the league's own numbers, Clark is single-handedly pulling in more than half of their entire TV audience. That's beyond superstar status. That's survival status. And yet, they still throw her out there to take hard fouls and dirty shots clearly meant to intimidate her, the biggest attraction they've got. It's like a restaurant owner letting customers scream at and shove the chef who's literally the only reason anyone eats there. It's madness, and it's costing them dearly.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on.
Here's the kicker. The pattern is so predictable, it's practically scripted. Players who seem more obsessed with sending a message than actually hooping just keep hammering her. Out of the 30 most egregious fouls in the league, Clark alone absorbed 5 in 2024. And get this, a staggering 80% of those came from the Chicago Sky. That's not competition, that's a campaign. And the WNBA's twisted double standard? If Clark dares to respond, she's branded combative. If she stays calm, she's suddenly soft. They've boxed her into a no-win situation, refusing to step in while she gets battered. And all the while, the fallout isn't just hitting the Indiana Fever, it's draining the entire WNBA ecosystem, ripping away the momentum Clark built with her own blood, sweat, and broken body. The WNBA was already staring down a projected $50 million loss this year. And now, with Clark sidelined, those losses are exploding like wildfire. Ratings are tanking, merch sales have frozen, and arenas are sliding right back to those depressing pre-Clark numbers. The Clark effect isn't just slowing down, it's vanishing before our eyes.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt?
And here's the tragic part. All of this was avoidable. When Clark first hit the floor, she wasn't some diva demanding the spotlight. She came in as a rookie with her head down, always hyping up her teammates, always trying to steer attention away from herself. At just 22, she handled criticism with more maturity than most veterans, and the league had a golden chance to make her the face of women's basketball in the right way. Instead, they fumbled it. Jealousy and petty politics took center stage while their brightest star got targeted night after night. What should have been a moment of unity and celebration for women's sports turned into a circus, and the fallout is brutal. It's not just ticket sales or TV deals falling apart. We're talking millions of sponsorship dollars now hanging by a thread.
I admire about Caitlin, she's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players, you don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
Big corporations that jumped in for the Clark wave are suddenly rethinking everything, wondering if they bought into hype that the league couldn't actually protect or sustain. And this is where it gets damning. The WNBA looks completely lost on how to present itself. Do they want to be a serious professional league, or do they want to chase every social media drama that sparks clicks, even if it destroys their credibility? Right now, they're failing at both, and the cost is showing up in cold, hard cash. Newsflash, you can't have it both ways. Real professional leagues protect their stars and keep competition clean. High school drama clubs thrive off cheap controversy, hoping anyone pays attention. But the WNBA? They're out here acting more like a reality show than a pro league. The contrast with other sports is downright embarrassing. Imagine the NBA letting players cheap shot LeBron James for months, then brushing it off as just competitive play. No chance.
I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on, she getting blindsided by Marina Mabrey. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves, because the numbers are going to drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
The league would shut it down instantly, handing out suspensions before you could even finish saying flagrant foul. That's the standard everywhere else, except in the WNBA, where Clark's been left hanging. Instead, the league seems convinced that any attention, even toxic negativity, is better than no attention at all. But that gamble is blowing up in their face. The constant fouls and the weak officiating have poisoned the atmosphere so badly that fans don't even believe the games are legit anymore. And here's the killer. Their own supporters are now openly saying they won't bother watching games without Clark. Not because she's hurt, but because they don't trust the league to keep the competition fair. That's not just a ratings dip, that's a credibility crisis, and it stretches way beyond money. The WNBA's entire reputation is hanging by a thread, and they don't even seem to realize it. The WNBA has been handed chance after chance to turn this ship around. But every single time, they've fumbled it. And now, the mess is bigger than ever. Every incident involving Clark should have been a giant flashing red siren screaming at the league to step in, set the rules, and protect their star. Instead, We get the same tired excuses about basketball plays and letting the players play, while Clark keeps taking the hits. And the irony here is brutal. Her injury, the very thing the league should have done everything possible to prevent, is what exposed just how valuable she really is. The numbers don't lie. A catastrophic 55% drop in viewership without her on the court. That's not just a stat, that's the entire business model unraveling. Yet somehow, the league still refuses to face reality. Officials hide behind buzzwords like competitive balance and physical play, twisting them into excuses for dirty tactics and cheap shots. As if reckless fouls are some kind of requirement for the game. It's insulting and it's dangerous. And here's the kicker. The WNBA constantly downplays obvious dangerous fouls against Clark while overreacting to ordinary basketball plays the moment she's involved. It's a twisted double standard that punishes her either way. And the longer the league keeps this up, the deeper they dig their own grave. There's no complicated puzzle here. The WNBA is staring at a simple but brutal truth. They've got to decide once and for all what kind of league they actually want to be. Do they want to be seen as a real professional basketball organization, or keep playing this messy game of chasing clout while their star gets battered and fans check out? If the answer is professional, then the path is obvious. Set clear, ironclad rules on player safety and enforce them every single time. No more selective calls, no more hiding behind empty phrases. The game itself has to shine, not the petty controversies that drag it into reality show territory. And above all else, the league needs to admit what's been obvious to everyone. Their biggest draws, the ones who fill arenas and make TV ratings explode, have to be protected from nonstop trolling and cheap targeting. That noise doesn't grow the sport. It just creates empty social media drama while driving fans away. The collapse in revenue, attendance, and viewership after Clark went down is a slap-in-the-face reminder of what the WNBA really was before she showed up, and what it's sliding back into fast. Without her, this season's average viewership is sitting at a pitiful 555,000, even lower than last year's 670,000. Those aren't just bad numbers. They're proof of a total regression. We're talking empty arenas, silent broadcasts, and games so irrelevant only the hardcore loyalists even bother to tune in. Without change, that's the WNBA's future, all over again. At the end of the day, this whole disaster never had to happen. The WNBA had a once-in-a-generation chance to cash in on Clark's popularity and use it to build a strong, lasting foundation for women's basketball. All they had to do was protect her, promote her, and treat her like the franchise-changing superstar she is. Instead, they gambled everything on a flimsy house of cards. And the second she's off the court, the whole thing collapses in front of everyone. That's why the league keeps bouncing between short bursts of hype and long stretches of irrelevance. One player shouldn't decide whether the entire sport feels alive or dead. But until the WNBA learns how to safeguard and elevate the few players who actually bring real excitement, they're going to stay trapped in this destructive cycle of boom and bust. So here's the million-dollar question. Will the WNBA finally wake up and protect their most valuable star? Or are they going to keep fumbling away every opportunity Clark's fame has handed them? From everything we've seen so far, it doesn't look like the league is getting any smarter. And that's the most dangerous part of all. Make sure you like this video, drop a comment with your take, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next chapter in this wild saga. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss what's coming next.